Jewish cook of all time.
Oh my God!
That was recorded. I got that.
Oh no!
We don't know. We don't know who I'm talking about. Yeah, we can't go too long. RuPaul's Drag Race is on at 8.
Welcome to episode 17.5 of the NXT and We podcast. This is the 4th installment. The 5th, if you want to be Captain Literal Man and count our two-parter with Jamin, but it is the 4th installment of our wrestler interview series and the first time we attempt to take on a tag team. With that, it is our great pleasure to introduce a pair of gentlemen who frankly would find it disrespectful if they didn't receive a long-winded and proper introduction. They are a pair of 80s and 90s sitcom dads come to life, the sweater wearing, golf club wielding, pipe smoking, the gods of the dad bods, the robe warriors, Rad Dad, Radley Belmont, and Papa Bear, Wade Krueger, the Stepdads. Fellas, how are you? PJ, how are you?
We're good. Did you say we're like episode 4, 17.5?
Yeah, we like season 6 or something. What's happening?
Okay. So without further ado, how is everybody? Good?
Good.
Yeah, doing pretty
All right.
good.
I'm good. I'm alive.
Are we staying safe?
Yes and yes.
Sure.
Good. Everybody is safe. Everybody's okay. And I mean, it is one of those things that we kind of poke fun at, and we're obviously laughing and having fun here. But, you know, just wanted to make sure we touched on that. Just hope everybody is staying safe. And we're trying to, you know, doing these interviews and doing our shows every week, despite the no fan NXT episodes and despite you guys not being able to do what you guys do best, which is get in the ring there. You know, we're trying to just give people something to listen to, whether it's 20 people, whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000. So just we very much appreciate you guys being here, and I hope we can put some smiles on people's faces with this.
No problem. I mean, all of our matches are no fan matches anyway, so like we're used to this era.
We're on the No Fan podcast right now.
See, I'm not gonna put up with this level of modesty here, because I am literally watching a match where there is at least 25 people. So
yeah.
Listen,
yeah, at least
post-production is amazing in this company. Okay?
Yeah, I'm watching True Wrestling. So
here's the story for you that perfectly exemplifies this. The first show we were ever on, we walked through the curtain, and there's like 8 fans out there, and none of them like us. We haven't even entered the ring yet, and they all dislike us. And I go to we're the faces. We're the faces in this match. The heels are already in the ring yelling at the fans. We come out. The crowd is like, we like these guys better than you. And I go to high five a child, the lone child sitting in this crowd of 8.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls his hand away and says, "Get away from me, you fucking cuck." And
oh my God.
It's been all downhill since there.
Well, I mean, that's for again, I will not tolerate this level of modesty. That is furthest from the truth.
That's not even modesty. That's real. That happened.
Well, I mean, if it was all downhill from there, you guys wouldn't have been, the longest reigning TIW tag champions of all time.
That was my favorite point of my career.
And well, there you go, and at least there's something to fall back on. And you know what? Let's just start right there. How? Let's just get the cat out of the bag. We've known you guys for a little bit longer than your pro wrestling careers. Is that not accurate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also put Scott Henson back in that bag.
Yeah.
I mean, we will put Mr. Jeez. It's like who is running
my God.
It's
Papa Bear's killing me. Papa Bear is rendering me useless. Oh my God.
We have to combat the constant barbs from Mr. Wade Krueger here.
The quick wit. Oh my goodness.
It's
guys, I'm here too, you know. Jeez.
It's a challenge. Challenge. Well, yeah, I mean, you're here, but are you?
That's the Brett Monroe backyard story post 2010.
And we are off to a start. Unlike we have okay, what you get here on the NXT and We podcast, every single interview has been 1,000% different than the other. and you are listening to us here with the Stepdads, Papa Bear, Wade Krueger, and yes, I put you second this time, the Rad Dad, Radley Belmont.
Man, I'm going to have to throw some zingers out there to get back up on the rankings here.
Yeah, I mean, you might have to. So, guys, just we knew you before this all started going on, but like, if you could just walk us through going from the backyard scene to the pro wrestling scene, I think is something that is very interesting and that doesn't get talked about too much. I don't know, but just how it went from that doing on bases in these random places and also rings as well into now performing in front of the 20-25 people you guys get every week.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Or every month or however much you guys wrestle. What was that transition like? And if you could just the training part and just like getting to be the stepdads that you guys are now, like what was that like?
Well, for me, I don't know if you guys are aware, I got pro training back in 2009.
Yeah, what is that?
I am actually, I'm not aware of this.
Yeah, I
was in Vegas.
Well, yeah, right.
Yes.
You watch my backyard matches and you never know it, but
GCW?
No, it was VCW, Vegas Championship Wrestling in Las Vegas.
That's stupid.
I know, yeah, but I got some training there before I kind of worked my way back.
Okay.
I didn't feel the indie scene at the time there. All right, so hear this. I was doing management stuff. I was a manager of the tag team champions. For a company called Pro Wrestling America.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. And
PWA.
That sounds like a real Vegas attraction.
Let me tell you, there were singles of people in that crowd. But I was literally, I don't even know if Wade knows this, I was literally in a shuttle. We had a shuttle to get dressed in. Like a bus shuttle, if you know, not like a spaceship.
Yep.
But
we're getting changed on Apollo.
Radley Belmont is getting strapped in to go to the moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm already lunar, so
there you go.
I was in there and I had the belts on my shoulder and I was Rad Hazard.
Shocker.
With my shut up.
Shocker.
Yeah. Total shocker.
Yeah, nothing new. But and this guy had come in from Utah, I think Salt Lake City, Utah, came to Vegas, and he was arguing with another guy who was a local, and the guy from Salt Lake City, Utah was like, I drove 10 hours to get here. I should win the match tonight. It's, I put in the effort. The other guy was like, I'm the local guy. I'm going to be here every month. I should win the match. And I don't know if the booker had a problem picking a guy to win or if he just let them pick who won. I have no idea. But they were about to get into fisticuffs in the middle of the shuttle, getting pulled apart.
Just about that.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in the back and I got these belts and I'm like, I don't feel like this is for me.
It was one of those like I'll take a detour kind of moments.
Yeah, because obviously we all love wrestling.
Yes.
But I don't like politics and weird stuff like that where people think they have to win matches.
I think that was a big part of what kept us from going pro for so long is like all the guys, and you guys know this, the guys we yarded with who went pro all came back to the yard because they had more fun doing it.
Yeah.
It was a very different pro.
Especially during that time,
Yeah, pro was a very different landscape than it is now.
Well, and that's like, and just before we get a little bit more into that, like Justin or Papa Bear, what was your experience like with pro training, prior to this whole culmination?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing going into training was like, you just try to stay humble and not act like stuff. Like, but I mean, like we were getting trained, like the guys that were coming to yard, you guys know we're trained, so they were teaching us how to do bumps and run the ropes, and so like you go in having like a basic understanding, but you just it's like you have a head start, but you just try not to act like like you just go through the drills and show you can do it, and that's it. The hardest thing for me was like the biggest jump was going from the actual moves and the spots and to like working a crowd, because working the boys is way different than working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Because working like in yard was just all about like who could do the craziest thing that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, yeah. And you kind of knew like you literally knew everybody in the crowd. Whereas going into these shows, you obviously the majority of people there you do not know.
Yeah, in the yard you could work like you work the boys by doing like inside jokes and matches.
Yeah. But they won't get that. Yeah.
You can't do that.
If you bomb in the yard, you might end up walking away as like the most memorable match of the day.
Yeah.
If you bomb in front of a crowd full of strangers,
well, especially
you're probably walking away with all the wrong memories.
Yeah, in the yard, everything was basically just a music video put in an order. Like there was no structure, there was no character. Some people had characters, but like
that was my big mistake. I was always trying to do character work and things like that, and I did very little compared to what I really wanted to do.
And that was my big good thing was that I created a move that was a spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Another big thing in the jump from going from yard to pro, the guys we wrestle hardly ever puke in the middle of a match.
Oh man, that's. I mean, I had to have assumed that was going to come eventually.
I am.
I'll take it. I have no regrets.
I am in love
that
with
whole
the
stupid regret thing. I have no regrets. I don't.
I am in love with the fact that
fun.
Papa Bear and Rad Dad have come onto our podcast and put us at the bottom of the pecking order.
Yes, it is one of those. They're becoming
away,
our dads
boys.
Right in front of our eyes.
Yeah. This is tough love. This is
like
what you
when my dad always used to tell me I needed a haircut. I mean, except now it's.
This is actually our podcast.
Now it's just. Now it's just roasting me, and we haven't really touched on our own. I was about to say thank you for mentioning us, how we actually have done this with you guys, myself and Brett, but we haven't tried to touch on it as much. And maybe I'm seeing why now. So
I never got to wrestle Brett.
Yeah, me neither.
I was kind of wondering when exactly you guys made your debut as pro. The best I could tell, it was like 2017. Was it earlier than that?
Oh yeah, it was. For me, I officially quote unquote debuted as a pro in January 10th, 2016.
Okay,
So
who was that for?
That was for SWO, Susquehanna Wrestling Organization. I wrestled.
Is it still Radley Belmont?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been Radley Belmont since day one. But I wrestled Russell K. Best. You know.
Oh,
big fan.
Yeah, and the guy named I want to say his name was Adam Grayson or something like that, but you know him as Oswald Project.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So that was my first match, and then that was for like a taped series of shows that they aired on like Free Access TV, and I had my first live match maybe two or 3 months later.
And I think my first match was like October 2017.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that the 2017 date? Is that like when you guys officially brought the Stepdad gimmick to the indies?
It would have been a month after I debuted.
Yep, that would have been November.
Okay.
November.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long had that been brewing? How long had that been brewing for? How long had you had that idea that's definitely what you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, probably about a couple months at that point.
Okay.
I mean, I knew I'd always kind of want to do a tag team.
Same.
And it just made so much sense. Like we went to a show and we saw a triple threat tag match, and like the most memorable thing about it was the team that wasn't doing the crazy stuff. It was a team that was being characters and being funny, and like even if the rest of the match wasn't that great, we remembered their stuff. So we were like, we could do this. This could be our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of just ran with it. And I mean, you guys know this. The Stepdads was a yard tag team I was in, but it was very different.
Oh,
it was more about like a cockiness and an attitude and a heel thing when it started.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a full-on literal thing.
Yeah, I have to say the version that you guys are going with now, this this overly like this over the top like yet very like literal version of a stepdad. I have to say it's gold. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I love that you guys lean into like
Yeah.
every dad stereotype that there is.
The funny part about it is that we originally wanted to do something like so saturating character work just to cover the fact that we were really green. And as long as we had our pacing down with the crowd and stuff, everything we do could be funny, but maybe mistaken for dadliness as opposed to just not knowing what we're doing out there.
Yeah, so like any of the comedy stuff really helped with our pacing because it made you work. If you're doing comedy, you have to work the crowd and wait for a reaction. So it kind of really helped us slow down early on when we were trying to like go at a crazy pace.
Yeah, like one of our it might have been like our third or fourth Stepdads match. We were in an arena that drops the microphone from the ceiling, which is cool.
Like Ken Kennedy style.
Yeah, and we couldn't get the microphone to work for some weird reason. So we were like fumbling around with this microphone, and that would be like death for anybody else who was just like trying to figure out how to work a microphone. But we realized it wasn't working, so we would play it off as characters in
An
the
opportunity
ring.
to be like get character stuff in.
Yeah, and when we got to the back, people came up to us and were like, "That was the funniest part of the entire match," and we're like, "Well, we didn't plan that; it just kind of happened that way."
And I just want to like, so you said, and I believe it's one of the first times we've heard the term used on our interview series. You use the term green, and I believe that there's a lot of aspects of the professional wrestling industry and profession that you can be green in. So like you can be green and just being professional in general, cutting promos, and then obviously in the ring itself. Like what exactly did you mean when you said that you guys were like green? So you were trying to have the more character based stuff going on in the beginning.
Well, really, just like we didn't have a set. Like so many wrestlers have like a set, like a move set and a structure and like a way that they do their matches, and like we didn't have that. Like we had moves, but we didn't know how to like put it together for a pro match.
Yeah.
So like the comedy hid our lack of knowledge and lack of experience in putting together a match for an audience.
Yeah, like I said, it was one of our very first Stepdads matches, so we kind of looked at it as we're clay and we're trying to mold ourselves. There's moves that I used to do all the time that I don't do anymore just because it doesn't really fit what I want to portray to the crowd. I don't care how cool it is or whatever. I'll bust it out when it's appropriate to have a really cool move.
Yeah, like if you watch our first match, there's so many moves in it and no story and no structure and no gimmick, and it's like me doing crazy stuff and Rad doing poison ranas, and like we do less moves now than we did in our first match.
When did the Father's Day device come about? You know, you guys saying about this being green. So like, when did that come about, and like, when did you really start unleashing that full time?
Well, Wade and I are ridiculous when it comes to puns, and that you
come in, you think?
Yeah, you guys know. But when we started building the Stepdads characters, we figured we're going to be new. Like we thought we're clay to be molded, so we're going to lose every match. We're going to lose very quickly. What's the most we can do? And like in our minds, it was like, imagine if we're just going out there for 60 seconds against the Road Warriors. What can we do in the meantime to get people to laugh and remember us in a small period of time? So that's why we wanted to have the ridiculous vests and all that kind of stuff. Do a lot of most of our silly stuff is at the beginning of our matches, if you ever notice, and that's on purpose. And with the Father's Day device, we made it a priority for me to go to the top rope and scream Father's Day device at the end of every match, even though we weren't going to hit the Father's Day device, just to get that last laugh before we lost.
Yeah, like for the first 6 months.
I think it's longer than that, but yeah, at least
for the first 6 months, our finish was going for the Father's Day device and failing.
Yeah. You
but that's it's so dadly that it just the characters that you guys get to portray, like you said, there are so many ways to play it. So like failing isn't really like failing for you guys. It's just a couple of dads trying hard, you know, and like you kind of expect a couple dads trying hard to fail.
The other thing I like about the Father's Day device as an actual finish when we did finally start hitting it, it's like no matter how goofy we are during the match, and even if like our whole offense is like spanks and like shenanigans.
Yeah, like smacking your stomach up against this dude's face.
That's right. That is a credible finisher.
Yeah.
When we hit it, like it doesn't matter if we hit anything else. That looks like it's enough to put somebody.
100% all the time. Yeah.
And in not hitting it for so long, for instance, at True Wrestling, the first time we ever hit it was at True Wrestling, and when we hit it, the people went ballistic because they still didn't know what the Father's Day device was. So when we hit it and we pinned the dude, they went ballistic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, like the yelling Father's Day device was the kick in the stomach before the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah.
And we never got to the Stunner for like
for 6 months you guys built up that.
Yeah. And so nobody knew what it was going to be. And then I think obviously it helped to be very similar to the Doomsday device. But then it tied so much in with just a falling hug. But it also looks so devastating, and the way that people have been able to not only sell it for you guys, but the way that you guys have been able to set it up, it's just I mean, that is definitely a gold tag team finisher for a team called the Stepdads.
Well, thank you. But yeah, that was definitely our conscious decision to put a spin on it.
Yeah.
We do have people flip it. It's really cool when they flip the Father's Day device, but a lot of cases you'll see me write them down. Like
in a hug, yeah.
Yeah, I call it the Father's Day hug, or the Doom's hug, or any of that. Yeah, but writing them down with it's just a different way of doing the Doomsday you don't see all the time, and it's our way of making it our own.
Well, and just a question that's spurned out of that is like how. Because you said sometimes people flip it, so they kind of treat it more of like a clothesline shoulder tackle kind of thing.
And we've had matches where we've tried to flip the guy and he reverses it and lariats me out midair. And then later in the same match, I'll do the dropping version just to differentiate them
from it. Yeah.
And the crowd understands the difference, which is cool as well.
And how was that generally received when you're telling somebody backstage, we're gonna hit you with the Father's Day?
A lot of people, there's definitely nervousness a lot of the time.
Yeah. Just for being on the shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, but usually if there is any nervousness, we will go in the ring. Because some people are like, just don't believe I could pick them up.
I'm looking at you now. You have this dude on True NYCW. Oh man, he's probably bigger than you, and you got him easy.
There are certain times where like we need to set it up where the guy is like going for a superplex, because I just know it's a weird position to like squat down and pick a guy up who's big, just like with your shoulders and while you're also like leaning forward.
Yeah.
So there are times where like I've stumbled and Rad has jumped down from the top rope to help me pop the guy up, which can look cool at the end of a like grueling match.
Yeah, like a barn burner. Yeah.
But I mean, there's guys that are freaked out, and then I get them up there, and they're like, "Oh, this is nothing."
Yeah. In like the practice sessions, you'll just get them up easily. They're like, "Oh, I'm good."
Right. Yeah. My favorite story is recently a guy named A.K. Willis was going to wrestle us, and he's a pretty tough dude. Looks like a badass, and he knew he was wrestling us for that show, but he never met us as far as I know. I don't think you've ever met him. So he knew us as like a comedy team, and he's like, "Oh, these guys look really funny." I don't know how much of our footage he watched, but he's in the car ride up. He tells us this later. He's in the car ride up, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna joke around. It's gonna be great." He goes, "By the way, what's their finish?" And he goes, "Doomsday device." And he like starts sweating bullets immediately. He's like, "These guys are gonna do a Doomsday device."
Yeah. And then we did it in the match, and it was like super safe. There's only ever been one mess up, and it's just because we didn't. We all weren't on the same page.
It's just a small miscommunication kind of thing.
Yeah.
But nobody got hurt.
No.
No one got hurt, but like it could have gone worse than it did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of and
That's wrestling.
you guys were saying too, like
Yeah,
that move and that move itself is like that will pop any kind of audience. Just seeing somebody on somebody's shoulders and then getting. I mean, I pop for the hug, but I understand when people want to, because we've encountered some crazy guys in our times who want a head spike off of the shoulders there. So
Yes.
it's not too far and few between there.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying to neck bump something like that. And
Well,
there are a lot of guys that we all know that try and neck
will land
bump
on their face.
thing.
You guys always seem like the more seasoned veteran team,
which is tough when you're the faces.
Yes,
because we are not in control a lot of the match.
No,
physically, we will.
And is that a thing in the
time.
ring too?
What's that?
Like, is that like, just to maybe pull the curtain back a little bit? Like, when you guys are doing a match, like as the faces, as you generally are, is that like who is calling? Again, for people who don't know the words, we're bringing this to you. Like, who is calling the match in a way, or who is like kind of running the match? Is it you guys, or is it?
So for those that don't know, a traditional wrestling match is called by the heel.
The heel,
in the ring.
Mhm.
When the heel is on offense, the heel is controlling the match.
Mhm.
The heel controls the tempo, even when the face is in control.
Mhm.
Now, with a tag team match, that's also the case. We wrestle a lot of excellent teams that we're right on par with, or they're better than us, just flat out better than us. But there's also a lot of teams that are rookies. We wrestle a lot of rookie teams, or teams that they are literally a year, maybe 2 years into their career. They're teaming up for maybe the second time ever,
Mhm.
and they're wrestling us. They only have double team moves. They don't think about the idea of like, I have to constantly communicate with my partner,
Yeah.
just for the realism of the teamwork and stuff. They just like tag, and one walks in, the other one walks out, or they're super nervous. Maybe they're just not used to this kind of scenario. So we would have to walk them through it. Sometimes literally during the match, we walk them through their own heat.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Tell them what to do.
A lot of times the heat is called in the ring because you can only remember so much.
Yeah.
So it's way easier to just like be like, are you doing anything during the heat that I need to know in advance to know how to do, and then call it when you're out there, just in whatever order, and have it build to the comeback and the tag. And we've been in matches where we've had to call the entire other team's heat, because if people get nervous and forget, it's there are little things that drive us nuts during a match that could happen.
Mhm.
Like here's one that is an absolute pet peeve. If I'm in the corner standing there like waiting for a tag, and the heels are in the ring and they're setting up a double team, and they whip the guy towards the rope I'm next to, it's like, what are you? Why am I not just going to reach out and tag?
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And it happens a lot. It's just people aren't thinking, but like that's all stuff you have to be aware of in there.
But that's a
like
nice
ring
attention to detail.
Yeah, that's that's ring presence, which I think you guys have a very good sense of.
And you'll see during a match,
the ring presence.
We will adjust to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you'll see Rad get up subtle, and like turn his body so they whip him away from me.
There's been many a time where somebody grabs me in like a like some sort of German suplex kind of position, and I'll adjust our entire bodies and quote unquote struggle through it, just so I know the next thing is towards the ropes, and I don't want to go right towards Wade, Yeah. So, but at the same time, we are very big on having a sense of comfort with everybody. Like we always tell people, you're gonna have a stepdads match tonight, and that's not because you're gonna do all our moves. It's because you're gonna have a fun time tonight.
It's gonna be different,
In the back, it's a collaborative process putting the match together. Right. But in the ring, the heel have to be in control. And then, but sometimes when you're wrestling people who are newer, not that we're like crazy veterans or anything.
Yeah, we're not.
But when you're wrestling guys who are in their first year or something, you really have to call it for them. Or
like veterans or not, you guys have been trusted to take these company titles multiple times. True, NYCW, and TIW.
Yes.
So like that, I mean, just as I'm watching it, you guys have a certain command on it, so it doesn't really matter. It seems that you guys have more of a feel of what will look good to the people in the audience, as well as maybe even helped by the yarding days for the video, because it definitely seems like you guys know where the cameras are at all times as well.
Here's one thing you'll appreciate as far as things from the yard that I absolutely have helped me.
Let's go.
In pro.
Let's go.
Working with Danny Devine for as long as I did.
Shout out Daniel Mola.
If you want to know why it looks like I have command of the ring at all times, it's because I know everyone's spot in the match, even the ones that aren't mine. And that's because of Danny.
Oh, and yeah, that's
Danny.
Excellent. Danny has
attention to detail.
You two, I mean, geez, now that you say that, that man is like a wrestling savant.
Yes.
So it's that's a great way to shout out Daniel Mola, Danny Devine. Hopefully he's listening. Maybe he's listening. I'll shout him out. We'll all shout him out.
Free shout out.
Seriously, him. That's a big one. Just because like I could be in the corner and still be able to like motion to people what's happening if Rad's not noticing something.
Speaking of Danny Devine, kind of leads into my next question was, who are some of the guys that you, like one of the last wrestling questions I have, some of the guys that you guys have shared locker rooms with that you've taken, like, first of all, specifically naming names, please. And then also just like any kind of tips you've learned from these certain names that you've taken on in your career going forward.
In the yard or in pro or both?
Yeah, both, yeah. But hey, let's throw both. Yeah.
So a couple of big ones that come to mind, and this is because we were there not too long ago. Definitely learned a lot from Mike Quackenbush and Ophidian.
Oh, geez, yeah.
We were there for a taping where we were Action Arcade that's airing right now.
Oh wow, really?
We were enhancement talent for like their Crucible matches, and because our matches were so simple, they're 2 minutes.
What?
We were able to watch the rest of the because they actually will plan out in advance matches. So come the day it's ready, the matches are ready to go.
Yeah,
Action Arcade is a video game. So what?
Well, it's also a TV show, Saturday mornings on IWTV.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
By doing that, like we were able to almost use it as a semanar because we were watching every other match get put together and watching them get feedback from Ophidian and Quack, and learning so much about working towards hard cam, finding the right angles.
Mm-hmm.
So just to paint the picture for you, the Friday night, Saturday is the show. Friday night, everyone shows up. They had them plan every single match for the show, every single one, and then perform it in front of them. So those two men sat there and pretty much watched the entire show in front of them happening
before it was actually performed.
Yeah, and then give immediate feedback. And if the match wasn't to their standard, they would say, "Go plan for 15 more minutes, come back, do the match again."
Oh my goodness,
that's tough, man.
But we learned so much from watching it because we were able to watch what stuff he didn't like and what stuff was wrong. And then on Saturday, you would go through it again in the morning before the show, just to figure out if you were facing the right way, if you had the right camera angles, because it was being filmed.
It was a whole production.
So it was so interesting to have it be put together step by step, and it was really an awesome learning experience.
So every little tidbit he gave them, we were the first and second match, so we got to watch the entire roster that was there that day get all this feedback, and it was so informal. It was so interesting. I feel like we learned volumes that day.
What kind of feedback did you guys get on your matches?
Well, our matches were so simple that the feedback was very minimal. I mean, my match was, I think, 35 seconds.
Are you aware of the Crucible match? Do you know what that is?
Go ahead and remind me. I've heard of it, but could use a refresh.
It's like a fight club.
Okay.
The ropes get taken down. There's a 2-minute time.
Yeah, it's like a base.
Yeah. Which was crazy. The ring feels so much smaller when there's no ropes. I kept feeling like I was going to step out, but it was just, our stuff was so simple that it actually just provided us the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, we had like you had a less than a minute match or fight. I had about a minute and a half, and it was taking it was kind of throwing half of your psychology of wrestling out the window because there's no more ropes. There's nothing like rope breaks or countouts or anything. It's almost stunt work in a way of two guys are fighting in the ring until one of them either gets knocked out or stops fighting. So you have to like emphasize the selling a lot more. You have to tell a story in his case within 50 seconds. You have to tell this entire story. There was so much going on, packed into this tiny little moment.
Some of the matches were like squashes, not to like introduce.
Yeah.
Like even the regular matches to introduce characters. So like, it was fun watching those get put together. It was at the end of the night. They asked like, anybody have any comments about anything in particular? So like, it was like a real group like experience.
Yeah. Quack
was this
big. Oh, yes?
I'm sorry. Was this all in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
at
wow.
the Chikara Wrestle Factory.
Chikara Wrestle Factory, yeah. Jeez. And it was all like supposed to be like a fight, you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Mine was a fight.
Jeez.
I had a bruise on my chest for like 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God.
Just getting the crap kicked out of you.
My offense was going for punches. And it ended with me getting spine busted to death.
Oh.
Now,
your offense was going for punches.
Yeah, and then I got spine busted, and I was laying there. I felt like I was in a crater, like I was in DBZ, and it was like smoke coming out.
So,
that's so funny you just said that, because a ring without ropes, I was picturing the martial arts tournament from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, and
like
that's
that is.
the intention. Even the referee's mask, they try to give you this like idea of secrecy, like underground kind of like the ring is dark, everything like that.
Yeah,
the wrestlers come out with no music. We're all in like the gear that has no like differentiating patterns. I was wearing black shorts and a black singlet, and like you're out there by yourself, and all the guys on the like all the regular fighters are on the other side of the ring, and like any of them could jump up to face you. So like you feel really alone out there. It creates a really cool atmosphere. And the fans are really good with it. Like, they were cheering for us legitimately. I mean, I lost in 35 seconds, and I was like, and you go through the crowd to go to the back, and they're like, the crowd is like, you'll get them next time. Good try.
Where can you find this?
I mean, it'll be on their show eventually.
It's on
it's
on independentwrestling.tv and Chicaratopia.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
I think Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't aired yet.
Well, they just aired their first episode, and there was at least one Crucible match in it.
That is incredible.
Yeah,
I definitely remember seeing either whether it was you guys' pictures or just in like the Whisper. And, Demorest, who did. I know he did pretty well.
You'll appreciate the fact that mine. I wrestled a guy I was a little more familiar with, so I got a little. We got a little more creative. We had more time.
Got to do some MMA.
Yeah, I was getting there, but he stopped me. But the end of our match is him. It's the most like Mortal Kombat thing you could probably do.
Let's go.
Match. He throws me onto the ground. I'm on my stomach and I'm like clutching his legs, like I'm trying to still get up. He grabs my head and he starts screaming in a foreign language. And he starts bashing my head into the ground until I'll go unconscious.
Oh, jeez.
Now
and that's the end.
That's what his finishing move is.
Yeah.
And he apparently does this all the time in these Crucible matches. But it's me, and so when I did it, I tried to head spike and scorpion.
It's all of the things.
And I went from like almost like a seal position with my chest up on the ground to somehow scorpioning my face 3 or 4 times in a row. And when I did it afterwards, the camera, the director of the show came up to me. He's like, I don't know, because he doesn't know Mesfer at all. He goes, I don't know if it was you or if it was him in the moment, but that was the best one I've ever seen in my life. It looked like you were murdered, like you were killed on sight.
Just breaking your neck every single time.
I did everything I could, man.
Hey.
That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. That's awesome.
So you guys can answer this whatever way you want, but have you guys been invited back?
I mean, the whole night they gushed about that the enhancement talent from our show was better than the enhancement talent at the previous show. So I'm gonna assume we made a good impression. But I mean, we haven't formally been invited back yet.
These are not being done, as far as I know. They're not being filmed every single month, and they're meant to be an introduction to a lot of these characters to an audience who wouldn't see them.
Okay.
Chikara has never run regular programming on IWTV before, so with us being this enhancement talent, they might wait 6 months or something to have us come back on, because we're not being the enhancement talent they're trying to showcase. So it makes sense that we're not the reoccurring characters every taping or so. That makes sense.
But it's just content that they.
I mean,
have.
we'd love to go back. I'd love to go back as the Stepdads at some point.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you guys would just fit in so well there.
Well,
to answer your question further, as far as other people who have like influenced us in the locker room, I mean,
thank you.
Our entire mindset of like how to be in a locker room and like how we are with other wrestlers is from Brutal Bob Evans. The whole like do the drives and like just be helpful is from him.
Yeah.
Just be an asset.
Yeah, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Bob Evans, but he is such a he's all about unity and bringing people in a together in a positive way. Wrestling is
shout out Bob Evans.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone wants to get ahead in wrestling, and he's one of the few people that I think it's really spread now, but he's one of those people that really launched the idea of help out your fellow man. They say you can't make friends and you can't make friends and make business or something like that. We do both. We have a great time, and we make money, and we share a brand, and we expand on everything, and we're smiling the whole way through.
PJ, I feel like you'll appreciate this analogy more than anyone as a sports guy. we never claim we're not the team MVPs in the locker room who is going to go out there and be the MVP of every show, but we are the glue guys in a locker room, like the guys you need around to keep the team and to keep everyone around like light and like keep everything fun and keep everyone loose. Like that's important. And sometimes we'll go out there and have a great game, and sometimes we won't. But it's like we can always control the fact that we are fun to be around.
Yeah, it's like one of those things like, okay, so you're not, like you just said, you're not the MVPs, but you guys are the constants in there, and you're the constant professionals. And a lot of the time, that's what you need, not only in, I mean, again, not having not been there, I'm assuming in a wrestling locker room and in a sports clubhouse, you need the constants that are just consistently good people on top of being consistently good performers.
Well, you could be the most talented guy in the world, but if no one wants to work with you, guess what? You're
never going to get anywhere.
And there's been multiple times in the past where the promoters have literally said, I never heard of these guys. And they never would have booked us. They never even would have looked up a match of ours, if not for other guys with a lot of value coming up to them saying, hey, you might not like their style, or you might not think much of them, but they're really good guys, and they're gonna make this locker room even better. And no promoters care about nothing more than money and a happy locker room. And they usually go hand in hand these days, thank goodness. So they want people that are gonna bring that positivity, because when everyone's happy, spoiler alert, everyone's gonna have a great match. Like they're gonna really want to try to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear that you guys are proud of being like a glue guy, because Wade, I know you'll enjoy this, and Rad, maybe you'll enjoy this too from hanging around Wade, but it makes me think of like hockey, where the captain of the team is not always necessarily the best player. Sometimes he's the guy that just everyone looks to either take the edge off or helps the team deal with frustrating situations and come out and still look at things positively. So
as a Devils fan, I'm used to our captain not being the best player.
Yeah, well, as a Rangers fan, I mean, you could make the argument that our last captain, McDonough, might have been the best player on the team, but there's also the argument that he wasn't, because
Yeah.
If you want to count Hank or a different skater, if you don't want to count a goalie, you know, I just like the comparison that the glue guys in the locker room are just so important.
And it's almost
You
like
need
they're
them.
They're the glue guys. Like that's
And-
their role.
And they will, like, I mean, I'll take pride in this too. Like, the glue guys stand up for their locker room.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that, like, if a fan ever jumps the railing, you don't want to be the guy that no one comes out to help.
Yeah.
We've been watching matches before at shows where, like, stuff is happening and we're watching the show because
Really?
we've already wrestled, and we're, like, borderline about to run in the ring. 'cause we
No
don't like
way.
that.
Can you guys elaborate on that really quickly? Like, what was the weirdest or craziest
Do
thing
you want
you've
to
seen?
start with that one?
Yeah, I won't go into specifics.
Yeah.
That's
but,
fine.
like,
No,
we
yeah,
were-
whatever
we
you
were on a
guys
show.
feel comfortable talking about.
We were on a show and there was a rumble happening, and there was just this one guy in the ring that we thought was being super unsafe and, like,
Jeez.
really not being, like, he was, like, trying to run the match and, like, be the focus the whole time and not letting other people get their shine.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where it was a guy from the past coming in for like 1 or 2 matches. So he took it upon himself to make himself look like $1 million when he probably shouldn't have. This is just our opinion.
Yeah, so he went into business for himself.
Yeah. Like guys would be coming into the ring, and the biggest thing in a rumble is, like, when the next guy comes in, he gets to run the ring for like 15 or 20 seconds, get his shine, and then blend into the background.
Right.
And, like, 2 or 3 guys in a row hit the ring, and this guy's, like, kicking him in the face before they're even in the ring. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, you're not this is not about you. Not every second of this match is about you. And then at one point, he eliminated a couple people, we thought, roughly. And then one person he eliminated, we thought he murdered. Like, it was super unsafe.
Jeez.
And we were watching from our merch table,
He
and
threw them in a way where their leg went under the bottom rope as they were falling.
Oh,
Oh
And so
no.
they could have easily broken their leg or dislocated their hip or
And
something ridiculous like
I
that.
immediately went to the back and started screaming at the promoter.
Yeah, he went to the back. I
And Rad
rushed
hit the ring.
I rushed the ring. I went past the crowd and went to the. I didn't go into
Like,
the ring.
yeah.
I went to the apron and checked out the person
like
because I
like
was
kneeling down, so it wasn't like the
terrified.
focus to pull away from the
Yeah.
match, but, like,
Yeah.
checking
Shit.
on this person. And
Wow.
like, we were like, that's only ever happened that once, but, like, we were furious.
yeah,
And
Yeah, you
I
guys
feel like
sound
that is part of being a glue guy. Is, like, you got to look out for your other,
yeah.
like, the person that was thrown was a regular, and this guy was, like, a guy we didn't know. So we were, like, watching our own people.
Yes, exactly. You have your own people's back. Like, geez, that is absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, if you
First of
piss
all-
us off,
Yeah, I know. The lighthearted tone
takes a good amount.
to begin this episode, and we have definitely switched gears with that story. So
just in the backyard. We considered a lot of the people, if not everyone, friends. The same as with the locker
Oh, yeah.
rooms we're in now. These
Yeah.
people are our friends. We message them online all the time. We're joking around all the time. They come and see us outside of wrestling scenarios. I went to Scott DeVoe's wedding a couple months ago. Sky
Yeah.
Arrow's wedding, and
mhm.
you know, he's someone I've wrestled a bunch, and I knew him in the yard too. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
man,
same
Scott
idea.
DeVoe.
These are our friends. you
here's
know?
something I meant to mention.
Shout
earlier.
out Scott DeVoe, even though he's a piece of shit. I'm just kidding.
Something I meant to mention earlier that I forgot to. Another big difference between going from the yard to pro. So in the yard, stuff that looked dangerous was everyone popped for. When you do something that looks dangerous in pro, no one pops. Everyone gets worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you
Such
wonder
a
wh-
good
if you-
way to put it.
If you wonder why my finisher from the yard did not translate into pro, that would be the reason. Because
The pride driver?
yeah. When you do a regular Rikishi driver, it looks planned. When you throw someone on their head, it looks like you fucked up.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And
But I mean,
even
you still do that to this
people-
day, though. Do
Well, I don't release.
Yeah.
yes. You
But
keep
there's a
them
big
on
difference.
your shoulder the entire time, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
But
Even
still,
I
I mean, it still looks devastating. I don't know what you're talking about.
exactly. No, you just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's what I mean. It's just a matter of.
you're not
making
gonna
it look-
throw Jed on his head. Shout out Jed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if
Yeah.
Jed's in the match, but otherwise, no.
Like it's all about. there needs to be a level of control.
Yeah.
Jed would probably request being thrown on his head, though. That's just who Jed was. So
Jed is the guy who would neck bump the Father's Day device.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I feel like that's a really good comparison against pro in the yard. In the yard, if you do something dangerous, then you're considered like an awesome yarder. If you do something in the pros, if you do something that looks dangerous but in reality is very safe, that's the sign of a good pro. We've wrestled 17 promotions total, I believe.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. House of
This is Cage Match. This is Cage Match database.
Oh, Cage Match doesn't have everything.
Listen. Look at. No. Wade knows what I'm gonna say. Listen, you go to the Stepdads Cage Match, right?
Yeah.
First of all, hey, there's a Stepdads Cage Match. Awesome, right? Sure. All right. Then you look at the members of the Stepdads. Wade Krueger. Oh, fantastic. He has his own page on the Cage Match account. That's great. Gee, who's his tag team partner? We don't know. Because for some weird reason, Radley Belmont does not have his own Cage Match account, despite wrestling longer than Wade and having more matches than Wade.
Why do you think that is?
Because there's a conspiracy.
They prefer the Papa Bear.
Maybe they just think you're not as good at MMA than PJ Geary is.
Listen, you don't know about my MMA. You know about my MMA skills.
I do, but I think I'm better. But it's
so what other? So definitely House of Bricks Wrestling in Massachusetts.
House of Bricks.
Yeah, House of Bricks.
Nova
I said that. Did I not say that?
Outside the box.
I didn't say it. Off grid and I meant to say House of Bricks.
Outside the Box Wrestling, PWA Connecticut.
Yep. Chikara, technically.
UWA Elite.
Yeah, I meant to say UWA, but I forgot them.
So did we.
Let's go. Oh wait.
Pop-Up Party Wrestling.
Yep. Party
Nessus.
Yeah. I technically ran a Pop-Up Party show. I ran my own show last September that was under the Pop-Up Party name.
Through Ness?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, through me, I just wanted a name for the show, and I was like, well, I'm not going to call this like Stepdads and Friends Wrestling. It was just like a one-off.
Although they wanted. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I just called it Pop-Up Party. But yeah, I ran a 3-match show last summer at right near the beach.
Nice.
The Beach Bums at American X Wrestling.
Oh yeah, American
one of their
X
last
Wrestling.
Shows. Warriors of Wrestling.
Ace.
Oh yeah. I meant to say that too. Warriors of Wrestling. Yep.
Ace Fusion Championship.
Jeez.
Technically, Susquehanna Wrestling Organization.
He said.
Yeah,
that.
SWO. I already said SWO.
Oh, and Backbreakers Entertainment.
Yep.
BB.
And Jersey Premier Championship.
He said that.
I said that.
I don't know if you remember.
You know my problem with Jersey
and
Premier
True Wrestling.
You know my problem with Jersey Premier Championship Wrestling is they have championship in the title and there's no champs.
What?
They've never had a belt.
It's been around for like 4 years.
What?
They've never had a title.
What?
So does someone just get like a star on their chest, a little sticker? Yeah.
I don't know. The last time we wrestled for them is when Grimm got his ass kicked.
Are they still around?
They haven't run in a while.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well,
probably won't be running anytime soon either.
We have learned so much here from the Stepdads, and this is all just wrestling. We have a whole. This will probably end up being a two-parter.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, we can't keep them too long because RuPaul's going to be on soon.
Oh, yeah, so you guys got
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
If we're gonna segue at all.
Honestly, I could miss. RuPaul is on demand. So I can watch.
Okay. I'm gonna mute myself when I do that. That wasn't a fart. That was.
Sounded like it. You little toot monster. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and hopefully enjoying part 1 of our interview with the Stepdads, Papa Bear Wade Krueger and Rad Dad Radley Belmont. Be sure to keep your eyes out for part 2 coming your way soon. And if you ever have any questions that you want answered during these interviews, wrestling related or not, make sure to post them to our page on Facebook, tweet them at NXT_podcast or email them to NXTandwe@gmail.com. That's NXTandwe@gmail.com. Peace.
That was good.
Thanks, man.